Hello, my name is Erin McGuire, and I read the book What It Takes to Be Number One, Vince Lombardi on Leadership. For those of you that don't know who Vince Lombardi was, he was a professional football coach for 15 years. He coached 3 teams throughout his coaching career: the New York Giants, the Washington Redskins, and most notably, the Green Bay Packers. He won 6 NFL championships and the first 2 Super Bowls ever played. The Super Bowl trophy was named after him after he passed away in 1970. The Vince Lombardi Trophy, which is pictured here, was first awarded to the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl V and is still the current Super Bowl trophy today. This book was written by Vince Lombardi's son, Vince Lombardi Jr. He wrote this book to honor his father and to share with the world his father's principles of leadership. This book is intended for everyone but appears to be geared towards coaches and football fans, but truly can be applied to any part of life. This book was titled after one of Lombardi's most famous speeches, and in that speech he has a quote that says, "Running a football team is no different than running any other kind of organization, an army, a political party, or a business. The principles are the same. The object is to win, to beat the other guy." So although most people who are not football fans would not think to read this book, it just uses football as a metaphor for life. Overall, this book has 2 parts. The first part is called The Foundation of Leadership, What It Takes to Be Number One, and it goes into detail about the type of traits or qualities a certain person needs to possess or create within themselves to be a leader. He develops a leadership model which has 4 steps to making someone a good leader. It starts with self-knowledge, then moves to character, next is integrity, and finally, the last is leadership. Each step has a set of rules to follow that help you complete that step and move on to the next. He starts with self-knowledge because if someone does not know themselves, then they cannot truly be effective at many things in life. Knowing yourself is the key to everything. If someone knows themselves completely, then they know what they can and can't do, and they also have the ability to make others listen to them and believe in them. Once someone has self-knowledge, then they can develop good character. Lombardi Jr. states, "Character is higher than intellect. Character is the direct result of mental attitude." And he also states, "Character is founded on unchanging principles. It is your underlying core. Someone's character makes them who they are. Your character is what you fall back on when you don't know immediately what to do. If you do not have character or good habits, then you cannot become an effective leader." The next step is integrity. This is probably the hardest to achieve because there is a fine line between integrity, which is strong and respectful, and being condescending, which is ineffective and just rude. Integrity is the trait or quality that makes people want to listen to you. It makes them believe in you. It makes them want to follow you. It makes them believe that what you say is what you'll do. The last step of leadership is leadership, which is taking all of the previous steps and combining them together to become a true leader. Once someone has completed the first 3 steps of leadership, it should just come natural to you. If someone knows who they are, and they have the character to stand up for something, and the integrity to be respected, then being a leader is the natural place for them to be. The second part of this book is called Inspiring Others to Greatness, How to Lead Like Vince Lombardi, and it focuses more on applying his important leadership traits that are taught in Part 1 to all situations. Lombardi Jr. states in this section that rather than focusing on habits, which are nouns, we will focus on actions, which are verbs. This takes leadership to a different level. There are different styles of leadership for different scenarios. Lombardi Jr. says that for some, leadership means going ahead and showing the way. For others, it means guiding a person and bringing him or her along. And for still others, it means providing direction. Leaders need to be adaptable. If a leader cannot adapt to changing situations, then they will fail. This part of the book explains what style is right for different groups of people and different scenarios that someone could go through. He also emphasizes that a good leader should know how to delegate and what he calls check your hat. By learning how to delegate, it shows that you have trust in your workers to complete what you have given them. And what Lombardi means by checking your hat is to make sure that your position as leader is always evolving and not just simply a position of power. because no one likes a leader who doesn't really do anything themselves. I believe that this book was a quality source of information because it was a son's account of his personal experience with his father and his father's legacy. I do not believe it could not be more accurate unless Vince Lombardi had written it himself, but having his son do it makes it as real and as honest as you can get. I believe this information confirms most of what we have learned in class because it is based on developing traits and then applying those traits in order to be effective. The part that I believe compares the best is developing the traits, because in order to know leadership, it is not just simply knowing what the traits are, it is having them and using them. This book absolutely explained the information so that the reader could emulate it. It gave a model and rules for each step. It literally spells it out for the reader and makes it very easy to understand and learn. The weaknesses of this book are that it was not written directly by the person that created the principles and techniques. Some people might not believe that these were actually the words and thoughts of Vince Lombardi. Another weakness is that it is targeted towards sports fans, more specifically football fans. Someone who is not a sports fan would not typically pick this book up and read it, even though it is about leadership and not sports. The strengths are that it has a lot of structure. It makes for a very easy read and teaches the reader quite a bit. It also has several lists and rules that are stated and then explained, making it very easy to remember and apply to the real world. I personally chose to read this book because I'm a huge football fan and I love Vince Lombardi, and it was the most interesting to me of our choices. I was very pleased with reading this. I learned several things about leadership and completely enjoyed that the book used football as a metaphor. Overall, the book, What It Takes to Be Number One, is a great read. It is extremely helpful and informative for people who would like to become leaders or would like to become better leaders. It takes you through a step-by-step process and shows you how to use those steps to effectively lead anyone or anything. So if you or someone you know is looking for a book to help them with leadership, this is a great choice.